You're watching KLTX, Channel 15, serving the city of Lufkin.
The Lufkin Police Department has released its annual report. We'll take a look at this year's statistics and find out if Lufkin maintains its status as one of the safest cities in the state. The Trout Zoo is expanding to meet the growing needs of its residents. We'll give you a tour of the new commissary. And it's almost spring, which means it's time to get outdoors and get moving. We'll bring you a list of some of the upcoming activities you won't want to miss. Hi, I'm Yana Ogletree, and welcome to this edition of City Hall Update. Police Chief Gerald Williamson presented the 2015 Police Annual Report to the Lufkin City Council last month. The biggest finding in the report is the city's reduction in violent and property crimes. Later in the show, we will talk with Chief Williamson and Assistant Chief Thompson about the report. Now you can view the complete report on the Lufkin Police webpage of the city's website. The Kurth Memorial Animal Services and Adoption Center has also released statistics for 2015. The report shows a steady decline in the number of animals euthanized at the shelter. In fact, last year, 57% of the animals were put down compared to 62% in 2014, 71% 5 years ago, and 83% nearly a decade ago. The shelter is also reporting a 13% lower intake rate. Although the rates are down, Shelter Director Aaron Ramsey says there are still hundreds of animals who don't find homes and are put to death in Lufkin each year. Ramsey said it is key to continue to educate the public on the importance of spaying and neutering their pets. Other victories noted in the report include more than 1,000 adoptions, 401 animals reunited with their owners, and 489 animals saved by rescue agencies. Community involvement is critical to the success of the city's Animal Adoption Center. Volunteers give freely of their time and, in some cases, financial resources to help unwanted pets find homes. Recently, students at the Piney Woods Community Academy held a collection drive that included pet food and blankets. It was all part of a statewide Destination Imagination School Challenge.
Our school, Piney Woods Community Academy, has a dress code, and we have to wear navy or white tops with khaki or navy bottoms. So we kind of created an incentive program to help raise all of this stuff. So Monday was paper towels, Tuesday was dog food, Wednesday was wet food, Thursday, today, was toys, and tomorrow was blankets. So if they brought any of that stuff, then they get to wear a free dress for that day.
Part of our challenge is we come up with a skit, and our skit kind of involves the idea of our animal shelter help, and then at the end we provide them information about what we've come up with and what we've done, and we have certain goals that we have to meet for the competition, and this is one of them. We have a whole lot more events planned, but other than that, we've pretty much gotten one event done.
First of all, we're just very grateful to the Piney Woods Academy for putting this together, and this is the largest donation that we've received in the 3 years that I've been here, probably ever, for all that I know. So number one, we're just so thankful. Everything will go a long way to help the homeless animals in our community. We get really excited. The staff gets really excited here when they see members of the community and different organizations come together and help the animals here.
Now, in addition to collecting food and other necessities for our four-legged friends, the students recently helped with a pet adoption day at PetSmart in Lufkin. The students have now presented their project at the statewide event. We hope to bring you the results next month. City Council members and administration joined other Angelina County officials and chamber members for the annual Lufkin Angelina County Day in Austin on February the 18th. Each year, this event gives officials an opportunity to meet with key regulatory and legislative leaders, as well as networking with other East Texans interested in government affairs. The event was coordinated by the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. The Ellen Trout Zoo was overrun with explorers during the first Raiders of the Lost Zoo event earlier this month. Adventurous boys and girls were put on a scavenger hunt through various obstacles to collect puzzle pieces. These educational clues help them complete the last clue that leads them to the treasure. Along with the hunt, explorers learned about reptiles and, of course, snakes. Because of the popularity, look for the event to return next year. Main Street Lufkin has brought a little touch of Paris to Lufkin with an East Texas twist. The Main Street Lufkin Advisory Board and city officials unveiled Lufkin's Locked with Love tree in Cotton Square Park last month. After seeing the love locks in Paris, Main Street Director Barbara Thompson came up with a Lufkin version. She says the tree represents a strong and growing love, and the rings around the tree represent infinity or the enduring love of a couple. Couples can come to the park and put their lock on the tree, and as a way of showing their everlasting love, the couples are encouraged to leave the key. Now, you can bring a lock from home, or you can purchase one from several of the downtown businesses. Main Street Lufkin is also preparing for the 24th annual Downtown Hoedown taking place April 16th. If you are interested in renting a booth space at this year's festivals, please stop by the Lufkin Main Street office in City Hall or download an application from the city's website. Deadline for applications is April 1st. The Hoedown Festival includes plenty of arts and crafts, live entertainment, a variety of community organization booths, children's activities, and of course, great food. Again, all the Hoedown fun will be Saturday, April the 16th. Even though summer is a few months away, now is the time to start planning for those summer camps. Registration for the ever-popular Camp Safari at the Ellen Trout Zoo is now open. You can get more details about this year's camp and even register online at the zoo's website. Information will be updated daily as the various classes are filled. Parks and Recreation Spring 1 classes are in full swing, and now is the time to sign up for Spring 2 fun. Registration is March 14th through the 24th, and classes will be held March 28th through May 6th. Go online to the park's webpage to view the latest list of classes being offered, as well as details about summer adult leagues. And get that Easter basket ready. The bigger, the better, because soon it will be time for the 17th annual Easter egg hunt hosted by Lufkin Parks and Recreation, Lufkin First Assembly, and KFOX 95. The scrambling takes place at 1 p.m. on March 26th at Kit McConaughey Park. Registration begins at noon and is only open to children up to 10 years of age. There will be a raffle, music, and of course the Easter Bunny and the KFOX. It's fun for the whole family. Plan to come to downtown and take in a classic movie or professional entertainment this month at the Pines Theater. On April 1st, Kicks 105 will host the showing of The Wizard of Oz, and then it's the classic film American Graffiti on April 16th. All showtimes are at 7 p.m. All movie listings and ticket information can be found at thepineslufkin.com. When it comes to live entertainment, the Pines Presents series offers some of the best. Plan for a night of classy jazz as vocalist Jane Monhate takes the stage on April 7th. You can find the complete Pines Presents listings and ticket information at thepineslufkin.com or call 633-0349. And if you are interested in having your next meeting or special event at the Pines, visit the Pines website or call 633-0279 to learn more about renting this historic facility. Be sure to keep track of all the Pines activities on its Facebook page or follow them on Twitter. tax season again, and if you need help preparing your taxes, look no further than Goodwill Industries. That's right, Goodwill is once again offering free tax preparation for families earning $54,000 or less per year. IRS trained volunteers will prepare your taxes at the Lufkin Goodwill offices, which is located at 301 Hill Street, and the TLL Temple Library in Diboll. New this year is a drop-off tax service. Taxpayers also have a couple of extra days to get their taxes filed this year. Federal offices in Washington, D.C. will be closed Friday, April the 15th, in observance of Emancipation Day. So, taxpayers have until midnight Monday, April 18th to file their taxes. For more information about this program, call Christy Bryce at 936-632-8838.
$23.95.
It's time for the 23rd annual Dr. Bill Shelton's Totally Awesome Fishing Adventure. The fun gets underway March 19th on Lake Sam Rayburn. Anglers compete for cash prizes, including payouts for the top 10 teams and biggest bass. Register online at chistluke'shealthmemorial.org or pick up applications at Tri-Lakes Tackle or Academy in Lufkin. Fishermen can also sign up March 18th from noon to 7 p.m. at Castle's Boykin Park or 1 to 6 p.m. at Academy in Lufkin. All proceeds benefit needy cancer patients right here in Lufkin. The CHI St. Luke's Health Memorial Lufkin Women's Power Lunch will be held Wednesday, March 23rd. Dr. David Price with East Texas Urology Specialist will speak on robotic surgery and the Da Vinci Xi surgical robot. After Dr. Price's presentation, attendees are invited to adjourn to the main lobby to test drive a Da Vinci Xi training robot. The luncheon will be held in the medical staff meeting room on the CHI St. Luke's Health Memorial Lufkin campus from noon to 1. Please call Lindsay Mott at 936-639-7613. Seating is limited to the first 125 guests. And you can join the 6th annual Reduce, Reuse, Recycle Clay Shoot Tournament presented by East Texas Asphalt. There will be an Annie Oakley shootout Friday, April 8th at 6 p.m. and a washer tournament until 9 p.m. Saturday, April 9th will be the 6th annual Clay Shoot Tournament that will be taking place at the Pines Gun Club in Lufkin. Contact Angelina Beautiful Clean for all the details of any of these events at 936-63-CLEAN. On March 19th, the Lufkin Landscape Task Force will transform the Crown Colony Country Club into a South Pacific paradise. It's the 12th annual gala, A Taste of Hawaii. The event will feature the decor and Caribbean flavors of the islands through food and wine, as well as silent auction items. Tickets are available at the Chamber of Commerce, Crown Colony Room 250 in City Hall, and Sam's Club. St. Cyprian's Episcopal School is also hosting its annual spring event. The school invites everyone to this year's Bayou Bash, scheduled for 6:30 p.m. Friday, April the 8th in the school's gym. This year, the event will feature a crawfish boil along with a great Cajun-style meal. There will be great music and a lot of great items on the live and silent auction list. For more information or to purchase individual tickets or a table at the event or even raffle items, call the St. Cyprian's Episcopal School at 936-632-1720. The Angelina Arts Alliance has some outstanding entertainment in store for the area in March and April. First, on Thursday, March 17th, it's the Annie Moses Band, featuring favorites from Aaron Copland and George Gershwin. It fuses Appalachian bluegrass, Irish fiddle, beloved classic themes, and roots music to create a beautiful and transporting concert experience. Then on April 5th, catch New York City's #1 jazz band live at the Temple Theater. The Hot Sardines is an 8-piece ensemble that combines powerhouse musicians, a sultry lead singer, and their very own tap dancer to play hot jazz. Both performances are at 7:30 p.m. For tickets, call the box office at 936-633-5454. As mentioned earlier in the show, the Lufkin Police Department has released its 2015 annual report. The report features details about services provided by the department and crime statistics for the city. We welcome Police Chief Gerald Williamson and Assistant Chief David Thompson to explain the findings of this report. Chief, welcome to City Hall Update. You're
Thank you.
bringing some good news with you today.
Yes, absolutely.
Lufkin residents will enjoy to hear this report, because we're saying that traditionally Lufkin has always been considered a low crime city, and it sounds like we're going to continue to enjoy that.
We had a good report this year, and we're very, very pleased with that. The numbers that we're going to talk about today come from the Uniform Crime Report. And the Uniform Crime Report is a tool that the federal government uses to measure crimes in communities across the nation. And what they do is they break that down into crimes against persons and crimes against property. And you're right, Lufkin does traditionally have a low number of crimes against persons. And those numbers have decreased over the years tremendously. We usually have a lot of property crimes, thefts and that type of thing that we have to deal with. Lufkin is a very, very busy city because we have a high mobile population. Even though our population is around 35,000, our population swells tremendously during the day and throughout the week because of the number of stores and restaurants that we have, and in the past, all the businesses that we have here. So we see a lot of extra activity because of all those people that come into Lufkin.
But when you look at violent crimes,
Yes.
that is significantly
It
low.
is, yes. It is, and in fact, last year we only had one murder, which the murders have decreased tremendously over the years. In 1989, when I was still a very new patrol officer, we had 10 murders that year. And so the
Gosh,
community
that's
is really, yeah, it really is. A lot of that was drug-related activity. In fact, most of it was. And we've really worked hard over the years to bring that down.
Yeah, and I know you all have worked so hard to bring that number down. What is it? What made that number decrease?
Just hitting the problem areas that we had then, hitting them hard and driving those people out of the city, away from the city, and also putting a lot of people in jail that were just bad actors at the time.
And it probably doesn't hurt having more boots on the ground as well.
It helps. It helps tremendously, and that's true of any jurisdiction. You've got to have officers out there on the street, and I really want to applaud the city council, because everyone knows that we had some staffing issues over the last several years, and they've really worked hard, and City Manager Keith Wright has worked really, really hard to get us some extra people. In fact, we've grown our numbers in the last year from 53 patrol officers to 57. So, and we've also done some realignments to put more officers actually out on the street doing the job that we need our police officers to do. So it's made a difference.
Yeah, it certainly has. Okay, so let's just dive right into your report.
Okay, the first slide that we'll see is the index crimes in Lufkin compared from 2000 until 2015. And if you'll look at those numbers, it's easy to see that our numbers, excuse me, last year were actually lower than in the year 2000. So we're really, really proud of that.
Is it in 2009 that we see that spike? Is that what I was seeing there?
We did have a spike in 2009, and you know, as that was our highest year in the recent past, and then you can see that it slowly trailed off from there.
Okay.
And there was also a dip in 2005, but we think that's an artificial number because there were some software changes at the time.
Okay.
But the rest of the information is pretty valid.
When you're okay, this is all crime that we're looking at.
It
so
is.
this is against this is personal and property.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned that we see a lot of property crime.
Yes.
Is that just normal?
It is. It is. In a
Considering
highly
the amount
mobile
of people
society.
coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, in a highly mobile society like ours, that's normal. It is. Now the next slide is one that we're really proud of, and we hope that people take the opportunity to look at later in detail. But those are the overall numbers compared 2014 to 2015, and all of those major crime numbers are down. So we're really happy about that.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at it from across the room, but it looks like maybe the violent crimes have dropped considerably.
Yes, they have. They have, and we're always happy to see that. One of the ways that we combated those crimes is we used overtime to supplement our numbers. Even though our overall numbers, our permanent numbers were down, and we're slowly building those up on police officers, City Manager Keith Wright actually let us use overtime money to give us an artificial boost on the number of officers on the street. And I think that really made a difference. I do. Okay. Now the next slide that we want to look at is the our response time to calls. And we actually had a 25-second decrease, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is. Our call received to arrive time is 6 minutes 16 seconds, and that's down from 6 minutes 41 seconds last year. And believe me, if you're out there and you need a police officer quickly, 25 seconds is a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
You know, I was just talking about an incident that happened years ago, and you know, the police arrived pretty quickly,
Yeah.
but it just still seemed like a lifetime.
It seems like forever.
Yeah,
I know
it
as a
does.
police officer out there, when I'm yelling for assistance,
Yeah, it's like, where are
25
they?
seconds was an eternity.
is a long time.
So-
Do you all have a national comparison that you look at?
We do. We look at other cities our size, and we know that anything below 8 minutes is a really good response time. We're significantly below that, so we're pretty
And
pleased.
what was the response time again?
6 minutes, 16
Wow,
seconds.
that is considerably
Yeah. On priority
more.
one crimes.
Okay,
which are
what
the
is-
ones that,
What are priorities?
those are your most serious crimes. That's burglary in progress and assault in progress, something where you're needing a police officer there yesterday.
Okay.
All right. The next slide that we want to look at is our number of crimes. Crashes overall. And again, those were even down. We saw a 5% decrease from 2014, and we had one less fatality than we did in 2014. So that's always a great thing.
You know, it seems like we are seeing more and more motorcycle crashes in
Uh-huh.
the city.
Mhm.
Is that true?
It is. It is. Motorcycle use has gone up over the years. It's just a more fashionable thing now. People really enjoy that. But with that, you see an increase in the injuries
It seems
and
like
even
we
deaths.
read or hear about that quite,
Yeah.
you know, like at least one every month, it seems like.
It's true. It is. And we really enrage people that if they're going to ride, wear helmets. And there's so many I see now, though.
You
and
know,
I
because
hate
they're
that.
too cool to
Yeah, that's
wear
right.
the helmet.
That's right.
But
Well, fear
gosh,
that wind blowing through your hair.
yeah.
But there's no protection on those, as
Yeah,
everyone
there's
knows.
nothing between you and the pavement.
Absolutely not. Okay, the next slide that we're going to look at is our drug arrest in Lufkin. And we took a different approach on that recently. We actually created a special services unit, and those guys actually focus on quality of life issues. And most of the issues that they deal with are drug related. And you'll see that in our numbers compared to 2014, the possession cases actually went down. And we think the reason for that is because our sale and manufacturing cases, those who are actually making and providing drugs in our community, went up. And those cases are much more difficult to make. Our officers in that special services unit spend a lot of time working on those cases, going after the dealers and the suppliers. And when you take those out, it has a domino effect throughout the community. So that's why we see our possession cases actually decrease.
So are you saying that we're seeing more people who are actually in the business of making drugs?
No, we're seeing more cases made against those people
More okay,
because
gotcha.
it takes a lot more effort, a lot more equipment, a lot more time for officers to make those cases than possession cases. And that's what our special services guys do. They go after those.
So obviously, when you go after the manufacturer, then you're taking
Yeah.
out a whole lot more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another program that we want to talk about is our physical fitness program. And we instituted that last year. And what we do now is we have all of our officers throughout the department go through and actually perform the physical fitness tests that our new hires do. And they do that twice a year. And there is no penalty if you don't pass it. But, yeah, thankfully.
You know, is that new? So is that new?
That's a new program. That's a new program. We've had an entrance physical agility test always.
Right.
But it's never been mandatory for our officers that were already here to go back and perform those tests again.
But that's a great idea, though.
It is, and it's for a number of reasons. We want to encourage officers to stay physically fit because the stress level is tremendous in law enforcement. And we know that physical fitness has a direct correlation to their ability to handle the stress over a number of years.
Well, not only that, you know, obviously stress, you know, can cause
Yeah.
you to, can take a toll on your body.
Yeah.
But also if you're working patrol and you're in your vehicle, and we all know how, you know, if you're in your vehicle a lot, you know, sometimes you get bored and
Absolutely.
you know, snack on stuff.
That's
but,
right. It's easy to do.
It's very easy to do. Well, that's a great initiative. How was that received by your
Actually,
police
very well.
officers?
Our officers overall received it very, very well, and it's been a great program for us overall.
That's great.
We had near 70% pass rate the very first time that we did it.
Excellent.
So
what happens if you said there's no penalty if you
there's
don't?
no penalty if you don't. You have to do it more often if you don't.
I was going to say,
pass
is there
it.
an incentive to?
Well,
what's
there's
the
an incentive
to
too.
pass?
If you pass it the first time, each of the 2 times a year that we do that, you actually get comp time.
Oh,
So
That's
there's an
good.
incentive there.
that's a good
There's a
incentive.
disincentive if you don't pass everything. You have to do it again in 3 months.
Oh.
So you have to do it 4 times a year if you don't make it in the 2 primary test dates.
Okay. Well, that's reason enough.
That's right. That's right. And we think that in long term, it's going to really make a difference for us
Absolutely.
with the number of officers with their physical health and also the number of injuries. We think that'll be go down also. We have so many foot pursuits and incidents where officers actually have to use physical force to arrest people, and injuries are not uncommon at all with our police officers. So we hope that this will help that number go down.
It should.
Absolutely. All right, and another thing that we want to talk about, and I touched on it just a little bit, is our staffing. Our staffing increased over the last year or so, and we actually increased the number of our patrol officers from 53 up to 57. And we did that with through a combination of things, but most of that is a result of decreasing the number of supervisors that we had. We just deployed our personnel in a different way, and we think it's a much more efficient model now that we have.
And I think I also saw on the graph, not volunteers, but civilians. Do you have civilian officers still?
Well, we have civilian positions throughout the department now. They don't perform any actual law enforcement.
You still don't have that program any longer. Didn't you have civilian parking?
We did,
so
but
you
that's
don't
been a
have that
while back.
anymore?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
been a while back. We did away with that. But what we did do is we created, we utilized civilians in a few positions where we had sworn personnel in the past.
Okay.
And one of those that's been very, very successful is our public information officer. We actually made that a non-sworn position, and Jessica Pebsworth now serves in that position, and she does a fantastic
Yes, she
job.
does.
And because she's a professional reporter, like you, she has the education, she has the experience, and she has a different outlook than a police officer would in that role. So she just far, far surpasses what a police officer would be able to do in that role.
Yeah, she gets timely reports out, and
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
can handle the crime, and
Yeah.
she's got the communication
Yes,
handled.
that's right. That's right. We don't necessarily communicate as well as a reporter would. She does a great job at it.
Yeah, because she knows what they want.
She does.
Because
She
she's
does.
been in those shoes.
Yeah, she can give them a great product
Yeah.
that's very, very useful to them, and I'm sure they enjoy it because
Yeah.
it probably saves them time.
Absolutely.
And they get more information than they would probably from a police officer in that role. The other thing that she does very, very well is she uses social media in a great way. And again, far surpasses what we've seen our police officers do in that same role. So, proud of that one too.
It's good to have her on board.
Yeah. Another thing that we have been trying to do is increase our community interaction. And one of the best ways that we've done that is through our Clergy and Police Alliance. And that program came about last year with, actually the end of 2014 is when we started talking about it. Councilman Robert Schenkel got that idea from a conference that he'd gone to. He had seen where Mount Pleasant Police Department had done the same thing, and came back with the idea. I immediately knew that this is going to be a great thing, but it's far surpassed my expectations with the interaction that we've had with the community. And we've actually had the first class graduate last year, and we've got another class that's in place now. And what it does is it actually brings community leaders and clergy members in to the police department, and we just have an open door policy with these guys. We teach them what we do and why we do it. We want them to know that they can actually trust their police department and to know everything that we do. And we actually invite them to come back and ride with us, to interact with us anytime in the future after they graduate through the program.
I had the opportunity to interview a couple of the clergy who went through that program last year, and very interesting, and they came away with so much,
Yeah.
and they're able to take that information back into their churches and organizations.
Yes.
And be an advocate for the police force.
Yes.
Because, you know, like we were watching some of the video of some of the scenarios that were set up, and
Yeah.
when you would pull your gun or when would you not pull your gun. And it's so much more difficult and challenging than what you would think just sitting and watching it.
Yeah.
But, and they agreed. They said, oh, you know, I snapped and I did this or that, you know. And
Oh,
something.
we had clergy members that shot babies, shot unarmed individuals
Keep
continually.
in mind, this is a scenario. We're talking
Scenarios, nothing real. But we set up scenarios
Yeah.
that we know as police officers that our people have dealt with in the past,
Yeah.
and our officers consistently make good decisions. But they have the training and they have the experience. They also have the temperament.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we look for all of those things when we put people on the street, especially the temperament. But you know, when you bring clergy members in and they don't have all of the training experience. Now they don't go through those scenarios until they are well into the program,
Right.
so they have been exposed quite a bit. But still, they don't have anywhere near the level of training and experience that our police officers do. And they made some bad decisions. But it was very eye opening for them to see that these situations that they hear about nationwide are not always clear cut. Like they're made out to be.
And of course, one of the takeaways that they took back to their congregations as well was, if you are stopped by police, you know,
Cooperate.
stop and cooperate.
Yeah,
And don't run.
yeah,
So, you know, I don't know how many times you can say that over and over again.
yeah. That's
but,
true. That's true.
um,
It's so it seems so
That is
simple.
a great program, and I'm so glad that Councilman Schenkel brought that back.
Yeah.
He was really proud of that.
It was a
And
blessing.
I think that it's been very well received here in Lufkin.
I think it's been a real blessing to our community as a whole. Just the number of people that the clergy members and community leaders reach out to. We calculated with our first class, it was somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 people that these individuals have a direct communication to. So, and that's something that we know because of all the problems that we see with law enforcement nowadays, that we've got to do a better job of, is outreach to the communities and communication with our communities. We've got to make our citizens that we serve feel like they are actually a part of their government.
Absolutely. That is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so do you have any other programs that you want to speak about?
Those are our main ones.
That's it?
Nothing else comes to mind. We do have a Citizens Police Academy for those that are not clergy or community leaders. We do those also once a year. We do the CAPA in the spring. We do the Citizens Police Academy in the fall. And so we'll have one of those coming up later in the year. If anyone's interested, we would encourage
And I've
them
seen
to
some
come.
video of that. Randy's been out to
Yeah.
get video, and that's very interesting as well. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to do that.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
They really want to know more about law enforcement, especially nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if anyone wants any information about what we just talked about, these graphs that you put up on the screen, are those available online?
They are. They are. Actually, go to lufkinpolice.com. All of this, our annual report is actually posted online, and it's about a 56 page document. So there's a great deal of information there about the police department and what we do, and they can get it there. If they have any questions, they can call Jessica Pebsworth, of course, 633-0321, and or contact her via email, and we'll be glad to respond to any questions they have.
Good deal. Well, a lot of great information out there, so if you're interested, take a look. Go look at the 50 plus slides, and if you have any questions, like the Chief said, give Jessica a call, and she'll be happy to walk you through that. A lot of programs available if you're interested in learning more about the Lufkin Police Department, how you can contribute and get involved. Again, you can find that information out on the website. There's a police academy. If you're a clergy and interested in being a part of this clergy program that we spoke about, we encourage you to contact the police department as well. Very, very worthwhile programs right there. So, Chief, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on a good year, a good report, and hopefully we will keep those numbers as low as possible when it comes to crime in our area. So thank you, and thank you, and thanks to your force for doing such a wonderful job.
Thank you. Thank you. They really do a good job.
Yes, they do.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's no doubt Lufkin's Ellen Trout Zoo is one of the best in East Texas, and part of its success is due to the professional staff and how they care for the animals. Recently, the zoo upgraded the kitchen or commissary to help streamline the way food is prepared for the zoo animals. We recently took a tour of the new facility with Zoo Director Henley. Well, it's a great day to be outside at the Ellen Trout Zoo, and I'm joined today by the Executive Director of the zoo here in Lufkin, Mr. Henley. Everybody knows Gordon. Gordon, you're the Mr. Zoo here, you and your wife Charlotte. But anyway, you have an exciting new addition to tell us about, and it is the Ellen Trout Zoo commissary.
That's right. This is the area where we will prepare all the diets that we feed to all the zoo animals. And we have been doing that for many years now in a small kitchen, and the zoo has continued to grow and add new animals, and there's new diets that are available, and the amounts of food that we were able to purchase and store on site. So it became necessary to really have a nice facility to do that. And so we're going to move out of a kitchen. We have an off-site freezer right now that we have to go to get our frozen products. We have an off-site hay barn. We have a small storage room where we have grain and that sort of food. And now all of that will be, well, the hay will stay in the hay barn, but all the other food will be right here in
under
this
one
building.
roof.
Under one roof.
Which will be, I guess a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to prepare the foods. It's not opening a bag and pouring out food. There's a lot of work and preparation that goes into feeding these animals.
There's a lot of work and preparation, right? There's a lot of mixing, matching, measuring, proportioning, separating out. Certain animals get fed 2 times a day. Some animals, we hide their food in different places in their exhibit, so they have to hunt and look around and find their food. There's all various kinds of things that go on in diet preparation now, and this will really facilitate our staff in being able to make sure that we feed our animals the best possible food and in the most efficient manner.
Well, it looks like it's almost complete. So when do
is.
you expect to actually be moved into the commissary?
We expect to be moved in late March. We had a progress meeting yesterday, and that will basically be our last general progress meeting unless something unusual comes up. And the next progress meeting will be walk through to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, well, speaking of walking through, let's take a peek. I know we can't look at a lot of the areas maybe, but let's see what you show me what you
we can see most of it.
Show me what you can today. Let's go.
We'll go in and take a look.
Okay, so what are we looking at here?
The area here now is our cool area. This place onto the left and first one here is going to be a produce storage area where all of our vegetables and fruits will be kept.
Can we look inside to see how big it is?
We can look inside.
Oh, wow. It will be so much nicer. No telling how much time your staff spends going to these various locations to get the food and then to prepare it.
That is correct.
So you have 4 cold storage facilities?
Yes, this one will be for thawing out frozen food. It'll come in here the day before and be set in here so it's thawed out when they need it. And then the next cooling unit down is the freezer.
Okay.
And this is where we will be storing all of our frozen food. We have various varieties of, we have frozen birds, frozen rodents, prepared diets for large cats, bones, things like that. All be stored in here in one place instead of being scattered throughout the zoo.
Well, and speaking of large cats, they're meat eaters.
That's correct.
And so how much, what were they beef or what?
They get a commercially prepared product that we call Nebraska.
Okay.
And it's made in Nebraska, and it's basically ground up whole animal, and it's packaged in tubes. So we come in here, we can take the tube and let it thaw out, or you can take the tube frozen and cut it up in certain sections and let those thaw out. So the amount that you need is already predetermined. And
No, the last one.
This last one is going to be where we store grain. And that'll be chilled down, and that reduces the amount of mold that gets in them, and sometimes there insect pests inhabit those things. This will prohibit the hatching of those insects. So we'll be able to make sure that we don't have any food wastage that way. This will all be rodent proof, obviously, because if a rodent gets into our current stored food and gets into it, then we don't use any of it. And so that costs us a little money that way. This will all be stopped from there. Plus, this is about 10 times the size of where we're storing grain now, and that enable us to buy that grain in a greater bulk and thereby save on that.
A little less expensive. Where do you store your grain now? You don't have a closed,
Yes,
secured
it's closed,
facility?
and we go through it to make sure that it's rodent free, but even though we do that, every now and then something can happen. We want to guard against it.
That's more time, you're going to say.
And this is a mechanical room, and a janitorial room. We'll have a washer and a dryer in there to take care of any kind of towels and things that we have that get messed up. Hot water heaters in there, some storage things, and then the place for janitorial supplies.
Okay.
This is the main food prep area, and they've just put a coating on the floor in here, but there will be, under each of these pull down cords, there'll be a table, and one of them will be a vegetable prep table, and one of them will be a meat prep table.
Do you have special people on your staff? That's their job, is to prepare the food, or does everyone do a little bit of everything?
Right now, each person pretty much prepares their
the
own
food
diet.
for their animals.
Right.
Okay.
But this is set up so that we can go into the future. There is an office to the left for at some point in time a dietitian have a place for them to work. And there'll be smaller freezers and coolers in here. There'll be special meat slicers and grinders in here. There'll be a big dishwasher that washes all the pans and pots and things that we use to feed animals in. And we have a pre-wash area outside that door so that people can bring their stuff in, wash it out there, and get all the gross stuff off of it, and then bring it in here and sterilize it in the dishwasher.
Well, Gordon, this is fabulous. I know you're excited.
Yes.
How did this all come about?
Well, it was just a product of growth, and we were asked one time to list all of our needs, and so we wrote this down as a need, and it went through several processes, and then it finally came to the surface as a priority, and we were authorized to proceed with it.
Well, I know you're excited about it. This will open the end of March.
We anticipate it opening in the end of March.
And I know your staff will be just as excited as you are.
They will.
And something else that the zoo will be looking forward to is building the zoo master plan.
That's correct.
So a lot of great things happening here at the Ellen Trout Zoo. If you haven't been out to the zoo lately, come out and take a look. The weather's beautiful, and it's just a great time to visit the zoo and see all the exciting things that are happening. Gordon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Yana. I'm glad that you came out.
They are celebrating 20 years of service for the county this year. I'm talking about CASA of the Pines. The organization provides court-appointed special advocates or as a voice for abused and neglected children in Angelina County. Joining us today to give us an update on the organization is CASA Director Natalie Thornton. We'd like to welcome Natalie Thornton, the Executive Director of CASA. You've been with the agency for a long time, but not quite 20 years.
No, not
But
quite.
it's been around 20 years and just doing a great job and very effective organization here in Angelina County. So tell us, for those people who may not know what CASA is, give us a little bit of a background.
Okay. Well, CASA began actually in the 70s, and it began in Seattle. There was a judge who realized that foster children were just falling through the cracks. And so what he did is he started an organization for committed volunteers who they're actually trained, and they're part of the family code, and they're called a guardian ad litem. And they look out for the best interest of the children that are in foster care.
And how long? So it's been around in Lufkin 20 years. And how long have you been with the organization?
It's crazy, but I've been there almost 7.
Have
It just
you?
seems like it's only been 2 or 3 years, but yes, it's been almost 7 now.
Let's talk about the success of CASA here in Angelina County. How successful has it been?
Well, when CASA began with just a few cases. It began with just one part-time employee, and that was the actual day that it was, I guess, signed and sealed was February 1st, 1996. And then in 2003 was when it expanded to Houston County, so we have a program in Crockett, and then 2006 is when it expanded over to Polk County, so we have the program there too. So it basically grew from just one part-time employee to now we have 7 full-time staff members, and we serve 3 counties. And I believe as of today, we have 151 cases.
Wow.
And so we have over 300 children that we're serving. Each casework supervisor usually works about 40 cases, and then they supervise the advocates and the volunteers. They
And so
help.
how many volunteers and advocates do you
We have
have?
over 100 right now. I don't have the exact number, but our biggest program is Angelina County because it's the highest populated, and we have about 80 cases in Angelina County. And then actually right now, Houston County is our second biggest, and I think we have 39 cases over there. And then we have, I think, 27 cases or 28 cases in Polk County, give or take a few.
Yeah.
It changes. You know, we may get a new case today, we may have a case closed, we may have an adoption tomorrow, and so those numbers do fluctuate, but we have around 150 cases.
So walk me through the process.
Okay. The process is if you were going to become a CASA advocate.
Yes.
Okay. If somebody's interested in being a CASA advocate, usually the first step is to maybe check out our webpage or to call the office. And so we have a gentleman that works at our office now. His name is Christopher Barley, and he is the person who's kind of the front man, and he's the one who explains everything, and then he sets up a pre-training interview. Because basically with a program as delicate and as sensitive as CASA, we have to make sure that the advocate or the interested advocate is a good fit for our program, because it's not for everyone.
Right. I mean, you could have the best interest at heart, but still not be that
Right.
fit.
And then we also do it just to get to know the person, because some people work better with certain age groups. Some advocates will need extra help maybe with writing reports. They may not feel comfortable working with teenagers. It helps us get to know them. And then after that interview has been completed, they start the training process. And the training is rather daunting when you first hear about it, because it's actually 30 hours of training, which is a lot for a volunteer organization. But we do 12 hours face-to-face, and then the other 18 hours they can do just like extra reading that we give them, extra videos, and so forth. I will say that the training is very interesting, because typically it's with a group of other people, and we don't just sit there for 4 hours and just talk. We show videos, we have interaction, we have guest speakers, we always provide good food. I'm an advocate for having good food at our trainings, because good food is
It's very attractive.
It is. It always makes things more positive. So we also do trainings, like if someone is an advocate in Polk County, we go to Polk County and do the training. If somebody is interested in Houston County and being an advocate, we go to Houston County. And we also, a few years ago, we sort of had a shift. We realized that getting advocates should be priority 1. So we will work with the advocate's schedule. We've made it to where they don't have to come on Monday night or Tuesday night or Wednesday night. If they're interested in training from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, we will work with their schedule, because our number 1 thing we have to do is get advocates. We have to have those advocates, and we don't want to put any kind of hindrance in someone becoming an advocate, because it's what we desperately need the most.
Right.
Because we have so many kids in care, and right now even though we have 150 or so cases, around 90% are worked by a volunteer advocate, and the requirement from the state of Texas is 80%. So we're really working to be ahead of the game and be one of those programs that's not just, kind of, even keel, but try to be even better than we.
So once
have
they're
to be.
certified as an official advocate for CASA, what do they do?
Well, after they're trained, they get sworn in by the judge, and then they get a case. The first thing they do is they read up about the case. We provide them all the information, it's called affidavit, And then they will attend, if they get right at the very beginning of the case, the adversary hearing, which is also called the 14-day hearing. So it's a hearing that's right there at the very beginning, and the judge actually learns, and everyone hears about everything, like how the investigation happened, why the children were removed. They hear from the parents and all of that. So then the judge makes a determination on whether or not the case is actually going to be accepted into temporary managing conservatorship. And typically, CPS has done an effective job with their investigations, and more likely it is going to be. And it's not always, because sometimes the children are returned to parents right then, but as a general rule, they're typically not, because of the investigation that has occurred. And so the advocate would go to that hearing, and then they would start the work on the case. They would start visiting the children wherever they're placed. And oftentimes they're not placed in Angelina County or Polk or Houston County. They may be placed with an aunt that lives in Navasota. They may be placed with grandmother that lives in Center, Texas. Just because it's always about what's best for the kids. And a lot of times relative placements are looked at, or they may be in foster care somewhere. Often our kids are placed in Beaumont, because there's a lot of foster homes there, and there's a lot of opportunities for placement in Beaumont. So then they go visit the kids, they get to know the parents, and the parents sign what they call a service plan. And the service plan is what says, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to, all the different things they need to do to then maybe possibly get their kids back and be reunified. Because reunification is always the first goal with families, or it typically is. And so they work with the parents, and they work with the CPS. They make sure that the children's needs are being met, and that's not just food and water. That's their educational needs, their medical needs, and each case is different. Some kids, if they're just healthy as a horse, you may not have to do any work on the medical end, but they may have some learning disabilities, or some different things like that. There's also, with CASAs, they always work to make sure that they're continuing contact with their siblings. And it's always good if siblings are placed together, so they advocate for things such as that. And so, but they also develop a bond with the kids, and they think about the kids.
So how long do they have this case before it goes to a final hearing?
The state of Texas is required to give parents a year to work their plan, in which time is one of those things. It shows us a lot. So every now and then there may be a case that closes before a year, but that is the amount of time that they're given. And then they also can have an extension if there's some circumstances that have came up, that an extension can be 6 months.
So do they have any contact with their parent during this time?
Yes, they do. They'll have visits.
Supervised visitation?
It depends. Most of the time it's supervised visitation, because each case is different. Sometimes it's supervised visitation at the CPS office, which is a monitored visit. Depending on the situation, sometimes they may have a supervised visit with a relative. They may get to come to the home that the children are living in, depending on the degree of abuse or neglect. And people just try to work. CASA tries to work with the parents. CPS tries to work with the parents. They can't always, but they definitely, the children want to see their parents.
So it is a journey.
Yes.
And it is a long
It's a very
journey.
good word for it.
So when you get to the final hearing, and then the decision is made whether the child goes back with the family or elsewhere. When you look at that as a CASA advocate, that has to be, well, I guess it could be a great thing, but it could also be something that's very heartbreaking.
It can be. The final hearing is, most advocates are pretty nervous, so we try to get together with them beforehand. They always testify when they go to court, but typically the final hearings are ones that, sometimes it's with a jury, and when it's with a jury, it's, it's pretty labor intensive. But it's interesting when it is with a jury, because you have to go over every single thing from the beginning of the case until the very end. And sometimes the final hearings are real short. If sometimes the parents sign their rights away, and maybe they realize that it would be better for someone else to raise their kids. There's different outcomes that can happen in these situations. Sometimes CPS is appointed the permanent managing conservator of the child, And oftentimes that is because they're placed with someone else who is interested in adopting a child, but all of the things that have to be set up for that adoption hasn't
place
occurred.
yet.
Right. A child has to legally live with a person for 6 months before they can adopt them. So a child may have only lived there for 3 or 4 months, and so therefore they're still going to need to be in permanent conservatorship of the state.
Well, considering the process of what it takes and all the work that you have to do to become an advocate, and then you look at the travel, sounds like a lot of travel,
It
and I
can
know
be.
that you guys are also a United Way agency.
Yes.
And that is one of the bigger needs, is to fund the travel.
Right.
Because like you said, the kids are normally not right here
Right.
or right in the county that where they live. So how do you raise funds, or do you get grants? How do you support this organization?
Well, our budget is pretty big, and so the money doesn't come from just one entity. We receive money from the state, and we receive money from the federal government, which that's probably about 50% of our budget. But then we also, as you said, we're a United Way agency. We thankfully live in a community with the TLL Temple Foundation and the E.L. Kurth Jr. Foundation, because those are wonderful supporters, not only for CASA, but for the whole East Texas area. But then we have fundraisers, and we actually have one coming up. We have the Superhero Run coming up, and that is April 2nd. It is set for at Greystone Richardson Park. And the reason we call it the Superhero Run is because if you really think about what a superhero is, you know, a superhero is somebody who does something for somebody who they can't really get anything in return. And so people dress up as superheroes. It's a lot of fun. It's a really nice community event.
A lot of people come out for that too.
They do.
It's very well supported. It's a lot of fun, and it's very heartwarming to see so many people supporting your organization. Okay, so you said this is coming up, and when, April the 2nd?
Yes.
April the 2nd. What's the time, and how do you get registered?
Okay. Well, it actually starts at 8. The 5K starts at 8:30, but about 8 o'clock is the kids' run. And you can call our office at 634-6725, or you can visit our website or our Facebook page. We actually have an event page on it, and the registration fees are on there. It's on a different scale depending on the 5K has a certain price, the kids race has a certain price, and the 10K does too. So like I said, it's a really fun event. And even if you know, we have people, we had a lady one time who she signed up to do the kids race, and she had lost about 100 pounds before that race. And her
Wow.
family came out and supported her, and she did that small race, but it was so inspiring to
Yeah.
see her because of what she was able to accomplish. So it's a race that has no pressure. It is all about you setting your own health goals, because for some people, maybe that's a little bit more of what the race they need to be doing. And then for some people, maybe doing the 10K. Maybe they've only jogged 3 or 4 miles at one time, and they want to really step it up and do the 10K and do the over 6 miles. And so it's really neat to see.
It's a
people.
race for everyone.
It is.
But it's a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun. You come dressed up. That can be a lot of fun.
Right.
And of course, you're knowing that you're supporting a great cause right here in our area.
And you can walk it.
There you go. And I
Plenty
know
of
you
people.
probably have plenty of people
Yeah,
walking
plenty
it.
of people walk it.
Yeah.
So it is.
But if you have a cape, you're going to want to run.
so we can fly back.
Natalie, thank you for joining us.
Well,
and best of luck
thank
to
you.
you with the CASA Superhero Run coming up.
Okay, thanks so much.
And that's all for this edition of City Hall Update. We appreciate you joining us and hope you will tune in again to get the latest information about the city and the surrounding area. I'm Yana Ogletree. Have a great day.